There are lots of bots on Runescape. You usually see bots actually doing an activity like chopping a tree, killing green dragons, or spinning flax. But what you don't usually see is them trading off their gold, which they have to do if they're going to try to sell it. But if the account they trade off their gold to is reported, it's incredibly easy to remove all of the bot farm's gold and link every account to that one mule. And that's what we're going to be investigating in this video. If you like the video, make sure to like the video, and if you like more than one of my videos, consider subscribing. I got a tip from a guy called E75. He said he's been seeing bots in places where they really stand out. And these bots only show up at very specific times, between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Eastern Time US. If we actually look at a graph of RuneScape's live player count, that's the time range when it's at its lowest, when these bot farms would least likely be seen. And there was a very specific location these accounts kept appearing. The second floor of the Varrock West Wall. I mean, who actually goes up here? From the second floor of a building to the east, you can see the entire west wall. So without spooking any of these accounts, you can scout them from afar. I can see the timestamps on my recording, so the first night I checked, I logged in right around 12:15 a.m. I hopped around a bunch of worlds and didn't see anything suspicious really. And then right at 12:52 a.m., I saw this account, DIO42069. As soon as I saw the account, it was clearly a green dragon bot. After watching it for a minute, it just ran to the end of the wall and went down the ladder. I followed it to the bank and it teleported pretty quickly. I hopped around a little bit more but didn't find anything else, so I went to bed. But the next night I was gonna find a lot more. Quick story time here for a second. When I was a freshman in high school, I built my first gaming PC. I knew I could get the best price for the performance I wanted by building it. Now that's still true today, and I went to Micro Center to pick out all the parts. So I'm so happy to announce the sponsor of today's video, Micro Center. If you've never been to Micro Center, let me fill you in. It's literally a tech heaven. They have desktops, laptops, computer components, TVs, thousands of products at great prices in 25 locations around the US. Micro Center also has an online tool that helps you pick out parts to build a custom PC just like I did all those years ago. If you don't want to build it yourself, you can pick out the parts and have Micro Center assemble it for you for a fee by checking the box Same Day Pro Assembly. And if you don't know how to start choosing the parts best for you, there's a new online Micro Center community where you can get advice from tech enthusiasts. If you click the link in the description, you'll get a coupon code for a 32GB flash drive and a 32GB micro SD card. All you have to do is enter your email address. Micro Center is also giving away a 24-inch Dell HD monitor to my community specifically, which they really didn't have to do. All you have to do to enter is make sure you're subscribed to this channel and enter using the link in the description. Huge thanks again to Micro Center for sponsoring this video. I hopped on at 11 p.m. this time and immediately started seeing lots of different accounts spread out over worlds. A lot of them again in granite and a whip with an anti-dragon shield. Some of them were lower levels in rune as well. Each world I found only had one account in a very similar area on that wall. And then finally I hopped into a world that had 3 accounts and it looked like they were trading each other. 2 of the accounts quickly traded Wooden Doors 8 and each hopped out when it was done trading. And then after only a few seconds of the last one logging out, a completely different account logged in, DinoCon520, a combat level 35 in full iron with an adamant scimitar. Wooden Doors 8 trades him and then they both log out. Now most worlds I was checking had what looked like one green dragon bot. There was a lot of activity and I hopped into another world that had 5 players on it. This time all the accounts were trading Donkey Dog, and just like the last time I observed, DinoCan520 logged in once they were all trading, and Donkey Dog traded DinoCan before DinoCan ran off and went down the ladder. At this point, I knew for sure what I was seeing. These green dragon bots would all be in different worlds, and then they'd hop to one world at once. I was only catching a very small part of this process because it takes a while to find the world they all hop to. They'd trade all their loot from the day over to one of the bots, and then that account would trade the mule DinoCan520. This footage is from the 3rd night, and on the 2nd night, I saw the same account destroy 666. But in that one day, it had gained 2 combat levels, so this is the same bot farm muling gold night after a day of botting. I was getting better and better at finding the muling process earlier on, so I was finding bigger and bigger stacks of these accounts. I started using 3 different accounts to hop through and check worlds for them. DinoCan was the most frequent mule, but I saw some others like this level 3 here. I'm not even gonna try to say its name. I sent off all of my findings to the anti-cheating team, including the 2 mule names and over 60 green dragons Dragon bot usernames. Jagex got back to me and linked all the trades up to about 102 Green Dragon bots. The average playtime across all the bots was 25 days, which is incredibly high. They also said the last 4 days they checked, the mules of these bots received 1 billion GP. So these 100 accounts were trading off about 250 mil per day total. That ends up being over 7 billion GP per month being muled on the second floor of the West Varrock wall. And the mules were only caught with 818 mil GP because they were selling it so quickly. E75, who tipped me off to this, also told me about other strange accounts he was seeing on this wall. Often a little bit later than the Green Dragon bots, there would be higher level accounts all the way north on the wall. They were also higher level than the Green Dragon bots and had 71 Slayer and wore completely different gear. A lot of them had base 90 melee stats and some of them had well over 99 strength as well, and as soon as I saw them I thought Kurask bot. That's because of the leaf bladed battle axe, the tank armor, and they all had 70 to 72 Slayer. Kurasks require 70 Slayer. It's also a heavily botted spot. Now even though I found about 10 of these accounts, I never saw any more than one in the same world and I never saw them mule off any gold. But again, I reported them to Jagex. Jagex found 32 of these Kurask bots. Their average playtime was 30 days, which again is incredibly high. Each bot had between 10 to 30 million GP on them, and Jagex caught 2 mules each with 600 mil, so 1.2 bill total. So after all of those accounts were banned, 1.8 billion GP was removed. A few days after all of this happened, I wanted to check on the state of Green Dragon bots. And unfortunately, every single world I checked had 3 to 6 of these accounts in it. They're almost definitely from that same bot farm Muling in Varrock. I feel like I only scratched the surface here because in just a few days there are hundreds more of these bots back killing Green Dragons. I wonder where they're gonna mule their gold next. E75 also sent me some footage from his own investigation. He found another Green Dragon bot mule, but he also found a Zulrah account in that same location that looked like the stereotypical mage-only Zulrah bot. It had 1800 kill count as well. I submitted that one name to Jagex, and Jagex said the Zulrah bot was actually getting drop traded some resupplies. I guess they didn't want to trade over supplies to link up the entire bot farm. If someone was super sneaky, they could intercept those drop trades. But the supply mule was banned with 80 million GP on it, and 15 other Zulrah bots were banned just from this one bot. E75 also showed me screenshots he had taken of a huge mining bot farm that was above the Varrock West Bank. It's crazy what you'll find in RuneScape when you go to deserted locations. E75 actually has a Twitch channel as well. I'll link it in the description. Definitely check him out. I recently got a tip that there were a lot of bot-like accounts killing spitting wyverns. This is another example of a pretty decent moneymaker that's off the beaten path. No one really comes here unless there's a Slayer task. But as the tip said, these are definitely bots. Every single world I checked had this same type of account with the same classic gear. They're actually wearing the stereotypical high-level bot gear as well. It really makes it easy to pick them out of a crowd. They all have between 80 and 90 attack strength and defense, so it seems like they've been doing this for a while. Spitting wyverns also requires 66 Slayer to kill as well. Side note, this bot farm reminded me of another bot infestation we've been seeing recently at Dust Devils. A lot of you have been sending in tips about it, but very similarly dressed accounts with almost the exact same stats as these guys are killing Dust Devils, which require basically the same Slayer level. I gathered 38 usernames from this bot farm and sent it off to the anti-cheating team at Jagex. The average wealth per account was 13 million GP. Jagex also said, quote, their mule has been closely monitored and was just banned with 4 billion GP on it. That's a pretty big win because oftentimes the mules sell the gold off very quickly. The anti-cheating team also said the mule was beginning to supply 90 more similar accounts. Whoever was behind this bot farm was about to expand it dramatically when it was caught. It's also pretty easy to mess with the bots. If you drop a bunch of wyvern bones around the cave, they'll run around frantically. They actually seem to struggle to pick stuff up quickly. I also tried making a trail of wyvern bones away from this area to see if they would get stuck, but if they got far enough away from the spitting wyverns area, they'd just run back and reset. So I ended up basically just giving these bots some extra loot. This next bot farm is the biggest bot farm I have ever seen, and I have no idea what its goal is. I even reported it to Jagex, and they said that the bots seemed harmless, but would definitely be picked up by the detection system within 12 hours and they'd all be banned. Basically, there are 50 plus level 3 accounts in every single free-to-play world at the Lumbridge Chapel. When I say 50 plus, I mean 50 plus. A lot of them are stacked up on each other as well. And when I say every world, I mean I hopped to every world that didn't have skill total level requirements, and there was 1 or 2 that wasn't absolutely full of bots. Here's the strangest thing. I was observing one of the worlds full with them for a while, and all of a sudden, They all logged out at the exact same time. And then within a minute in the same world, groups of them started logging back in, but this time a lot of them were different bots. If we estimate about 50 free-to-play unrestricted worlds these bots could log into, and about 50 bots per world, this bot farm has 2,500 bots in it. And most free-to-play worlds have less than 300 players in them, so this bot farm alone could make up between 1/5 to 1/6 of the entire free-to-play population currently online. Jagex assured me this was not an attempt to crash worlds to dupe gold or anything like that. The only thing I can think of is that these bots are trying to boost their play time so that they can bypass free-to-play trade restrictions. But let me know any theories you have in the comments. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you see something suspicious, report it to sirpuggertipoff@gmail.com.